Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah. Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds TV,
your number one Sacramento Kings news station, only on YouTube.
We are up late tonight celebrating another Sacramento Kings victory, this time over the LA Clippers, and continuing the winning streak from the Summer League.
That's right. Kings took down the Clippers in LA tonight, 113-98. Before we get into the specifics of the game and some highlights, as always, welcome into Royal Rebounds TV here. If you love the Kings, if you love basketball, and if you like this video, then hit that like button down there, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification cowbell so you get notified when Barry and I put out new content.
Yeah, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you can join the Royal family with Calvin and I. We're not professionals. We're just fans just like you. We love the Sacramento Kings, and we love putting out Kings content. All right, so let's jump right here into the game, Calvin. I know we're showing some highlights, but what was your favorite highlight of this game?
My favorite highlight was definitely the third quarter, particularly the end of the third quarter. It was pretty exciting to watch from a Kings fan perspective. Very back and forth game in the first half, pretty even. In fact, the score was tied at halftime, but the Kings used a massive run late in the third quarter, fueled by guys like De'Aaron Fox. The threes were raining. They were getting stops, getting rebounds, and they outscored the Clippers 38-17 in that third quarter and never looked back. The game was in no question from that point on.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox had a monster game with 23 points, looking like his usual self and ready to be the superstar the Kings need this season to get them back into the playoffs.
Yes. He looked much better, I would say, today than he did in the first outing against Phoenix. I think he was maybe just a little off sync or forcing it in the paint a little bit too much, but he was hitting his step-back three today, which if he does that, it's pretty much game over, as we know. And most of that, his 23 points actually came in the first half. You know, the Kings really bench to really pull away there in the third and fourth quarters, which is a very key point, I think, to take away from this game. You know, a lot of times you don't learn a ton of stuff from preseason games because so many guys are out, so many guys are you know, in the middle of resting or making sure that they're healthy going into the regular season. Clippers didn't have Kawhi Leonard, they didn't have Serge Ibaka, they didn't have Marcus Morris tonight. But I think there is one thing that we can definitely take away from this game, and that is that the Kings bench is going to be for real this season. They've got a lot of different combinations they can throw at people. I think Terrence Davis is going to have a huge growth level this year. He looked amazing in the fourth quarter, 15 points in 14 minutes. Did most of that in the fourth quarter. You got guys like Buddy Hield, who it looks like is committed to coming off the bench now, Davion Mitchell. It's the right mix of veterans and exciting young talent, and I think it's really going to benefit the Kings this season.
Yeah, definitely. You know, watching Davion Mitchell hit a couple step-back threes was pretty good sight. Made me very happy as a Kings fan. Thompson started in the center position. Mo Harkless also started for the Kings. So Richaun Holmes and Marvin Bagley both came off the bench in this game, which I don't know if that is the plan for the season, but you can tell that Coach Walton is definitely tinkering with the lineups, seeing who plays well with each other, and also trying to get a little bit more energy out there.
Yeah.
Let's dive here into the box score. So Tyrese Haliburton led the Kings with 28 minutes. Only 4 points in this game. However, he played some awesome defense.
He did.
5 assists, 5 rebounds, a really well-rounded game by him. Harrison Barnes, 24 minutes for him, 11 points. Doing HB things out there. De'Aaron Fox, 22 minutes, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Oh, also, I didn't mention 3 steals for Tyrese Haliburton out there as well.
Yeah.
And then Marvin Bagley, 20 minutes off the bench, 9 points, 4 rebounds, decent game for him, and only 13 minutes for Richaun Holmes tonight.
Yeah, I think Luke Walton's staying true to what he said before the preseason started in that they're going to be messing around with the lineup. They're playing a bunch of guys. They're going to be just using this opportunity to figure out what it is they've got actually as a collective unit. So I'm not surprised to see on any given night here in the preseason one of these main rotation guys taking sort of a night off or not having to put forth, as much of a workload. I think it makes sense from a strategic standpoint. And like we talked about for the bench, that's really where the Kings are trying to figure out what they've got and what pieces are working in the right spots. So they know that what they're going to get out of Richaun Holmes. They know what they're going to get out of De'Aaron Fox. So to see those guys take halves off or maybe even games off as the preseason continues, I certainly wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. A couple quick shout-outs. Asha, Marcus, I see you guys in the chat. What up? Thanks for staying up late with us and celebrating another victory. Let us know what you guys are doing to celebrate this victory. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. We love to hear from Kings fans. Just feels good to get another win here, right, Cal?
Oh, it sure does. Like Scott Van Pelt always says, it's late, but I'm not tired yet. I'm fired up off another Kings win. It's good to be a Kings fan at the moment, right?
Yeah, great. So 13 points for Davion Mitchell off the bench, 11 points for Buddy Hield. Unfortunately, Buddy did not shoot well. 3 of 13 from 3, which is very similar to the first preseason game. But it kind of gives you an idea of how Luke Walton's going to use him in this offense. And I think that's another way to get him to buy in with this team, right? Like, okay, buddy, You're not a starter now because your game is not well-rounded. However, you are excellent at a few things, and three-point shooting is one of them. So I think you can take from that Buddy Hield will be used as a sharpshooter coming off the bench when the Kings need a three, when they need to get back in these games, maybe late game situations where you need a bucket. Buddy Hield will be on the court.
Yeah, I agree. I think you said it perfectly there. He has a very defined role on this team now. It's not to be the starting shooting guard necessarily. It's not to be the guy who plays 35, 36 minutes a game. And I think tonight is a perfect picture of what it's going to look like, because even on nights when he doesn't shoot really well, 3 of 13 is not good overall. But in that late third quarter run where the Kings really pulled away, he hit all 3 of his made three-point field goals in a very short amount of time. So he's going to have, moments like that all season long, which are going to fuel runs for the Kings. And, I think because he's not being asked to play heavy minutes, they are going to be able to withstand shooting slumps like that from him as well.
Yeah, and he actually played 22 minutes tonight, which is the same amount of minutes that De'Aaron Fox played. So it's good to see him out there on the court. As you mentioned, Terrence Davis, 15 points tonight, shot very well, 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from three-point range. And then looking at the Clippers box score here, nothing special. Paul George did play. He played 14 minutes. As we mentioned, no Kawhi Leonard. He's going to be out for a little while. But the guy that really impressed me, who I was a big fan of for the past 2 years, watching him play with Bronny James, and I wanted the Kings to take a chance on him, but it's BJ or Brandon Boston.
Yep.
20 big points for him off the bench, played 24 minutes. 6 of 19 shooting, 2 for 5 from three-point range. Excited to see him develop and grow as a player. It's hard to root for him on the Clippers, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, Barry would take Brandon Boston Jr. in every draft in 2K for like a 3-year period straight. So he really, really thinks highly of this guy. I think he's going to be a good pro. He certainly showed his total repertoire tonight. Most of his points came in, garbage time after the Kings were already up big and they were playing a lot of their two-way players, Lewis King and Jamias Ramsey and stuff. But if a guy goes out there and he shoots well, and he plays well in an NBA game, you got to give him props. So I think the Clippers probably got a bit of a steal in that pick.
Definitely. Another surprise to me, Harry Giles. I didn't even know Harry Giles got signed by a team. So happy to see him back on the court. I'm glad he got an opportunity to play for another contender. I know a lot of people aren't picking the Clippers to win the championship this year, but they're probably going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a good team, unless the Kings have.
Yeah, we'll actually, that's a good segue. I was going to bring up the fact this division, we've talked about it before, it's loaded, right? All 5 teams in this division we feel like are teams that are not either championship level or playoff contender level teams. Do you know how many times all 5 teams in a division have made the playoffs in the same season?
I do not know.
Since they've realigned the divisions so that there are 5 teams in each division, it's only happened once. It was in 2005, 2006, when all 5 teams in the Central Division of the Eastern Conference made the playoffs. The Pistons were the number 1 seed that year. So the answer clearly is it doesn't happen very often. The question is, can all 5 teams in this Pacific Division make the playoffs? Do you think the Kings can afford to finish last in this division and still make the playoffs?
Yeah, and we're talking Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Kings, and Trailblazers.
And, by the way, the Suns, who were in the NBA Finals last year.
Oh, yeah.
Trailblazers are in the...
the Suns. You're right. So, all very good teams. Hopefully the Kings can sneak in here, too. So,
yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Do have the play-in tournament to, help kind of... There's a buffer now between seeds 8 and 10, but I'm talking the final 8 playoff seeds.
Yeah. And speaking of tournaments, Calvin and I will be playing in the 3-on-3 tournament before FanFest on Saturday. We got the Czech Dirk, David Allison, on our team. He will be championship game. We're going to be in the over 30s league, Team Barnes. So if you see us there, make sure you guys root for us on the court. We are excited. We will also be at FanFest afterwards, celebrating with everyone, having a great time, trying to win some prizes, watching open practice, just having a great time. And I also heard there's going to be 50% off select items at the team store. So
we'll be there for sure.
You can probably catch us in the store stocking up for this upcoming season.
That's right.
Anything that you're excited or most excited about for FanFest other than the basketball tournament? I know that's
of course
that's
I'm
what you're juiced
for the basketball tournament. I love to play, so I'm definitely hype about that. But I would say first and foremost, I'm just excited to be back in Golden One Center. It's been a long time for me personally, and to see the Kings out on the court there, this is a pretty unique setting that as a fan you don't get to take advantage of very often. So I'm just excited to be there and relax and to mingle with all the rest of the Kings fans that are going to be in attendance.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking to get some cool apparel, make sure you guys check out RoyalRebounds.com. Calvin here is modeling another one of our awesome shirts. He's got a good duo there, one of the best all time. Right. So make sure you guys check that out at RoyalRebounds.com/shop. All right, Calvin, so we're moving on here. We're talking about the Royal Report. I know many of you joined us last season for the Royal Report. It's our ESPN type show because ESPN doesn't talk about our Kings enough. We decided to create our own show called the Royal Report. We do a rundown. We talk about everything Kings, and it is every single Friday during the season. We're still contemplating on the exact release time. It's probably going to be around 11 a.m., maybe noon Pacific Standard Time. We'll let you guys know in the next week when that will be. But please make sure you guys tune in. It's an awesome show. Calvin and I have a blast doing it. And we can't talk enough about your Sacramento Kings, so join us then. All right, so moving in here, we are going to talk about the next couple games of the preseason. There's 2 left. The Kings are 2-0. I want to start off here by apologizing for picking the Lakers over the Kings in the last episode of the Royal Report. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I had too many gesture juices.
I'm shocked.
Who knows? But they did lose to the Suns tonight.
They did.
Who the Kings beat just a couple nights ago. So that's looking good for us. We'll see if LeBron plays. We'll see if Anthony Davis plays in that final game. But I'm picking the Kings to go 4-0 now in this preseason.
Okay. Well, yeah, clearly, both of these last 2 games, Portland and the Lakers, it's going to depend on who's out there. Not saying the Kings cannot beat either team when they're both at full strength, and they certainly have been playing really well together to start this preseason. So it's going to be exciting to watch. Yeah. I'm going to love to see Davion Mitchell check Damian Lillard.
That's going to be very exciting.
That's something I'm definitely looking forward to watching.
Yeah. All right, for all you newcomers that are joining, very exciting.
That's something I'm definitely looking forward to watching.
Yeah. All right, for all you newcomers that are joining in just now with us, we are breaking down the Sacramento Kings win over the LA Clippers tonight. A wonderful win it was, capped off by a wonderful performance by De'Aaron Fox, some good play by Harrison Barnes, Tyrese Haliburton, and rookie Davion Mitchell. Calvin, if you were to choose a player of the game, who would it be?
Man, it's hard not to pick De'Aaron Fox here. I mean, not only did he lead the Kings in total points scored, he just looked so far ahead of everybody out there on the court. His game was really, really complete tonight. He was very smooth, got to the basket, got to all his spots that he wanted. He hit all 6 of his free throws, which is a big thing for De'Aaron Fox. Shot 7 for 10 overall from the field, so incredibly efficient, and really played well defensively in addition to that. But, this game was such a tale of 2 halves that I almost want to pick a player of the game for each half. So for the first half,
that's okay.
I'll go De'Aaron Fox. And for the second half, this is a tough one because Terrence Davis had such a great fourth quarter. He was all over the place. I think in the first couple minutes of the fourth quarter, he either scored or assisted on every Kings point, as well as had a couple steals on defense. But I'm going to go with Davion Mitchell just because of the way he controlled the game from the point guard position. He played phenomenal defense as well, and he shot very, very well. 3 of 3 from 3, 5 of 9 from the field overall. So I'll take Davion Mitchell in the second half and De'Aaron Fox in the first half.
Yeah. What up, Sean? Thanks for joining us in here. All you guys watching, let us know in the chat whether you agree with Calvin, if you think De'Aaron Fox was MVP of the game, whether you think Davion Mitchell, whether you think they should share the award, or if you think it's okay for him to break it up into a first and second half award, which I'm totally cool with, as long as the Kings win the game, right?
That's right.
All right, so moving on here. More recap of the game since we have some newcomers joining us here. It was an awesome game. The Kings pulled away at the end of the third quarter, and they did not look back.
No, they did not.
No Rashawn Holmes starting tonight. He came off the bench. Marvin Bagley also came off the bench. Buddy Hield came off the bench tonight too. He played about 22 minutes, the same amount as De'Aaron Fox. 3 for 13 from three-point range. It's pretty clear that Luke Walton is using him as the three-point threat, the shooter off the bench. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Buddy Hield potentially running for a Sixth Man of the Year award this year? Or do you think any player on the Kings has a shot at the Sixth Man award this year?
Well, like we talked about a little earlier in this show here, the Kings bench is deep and vastly improved. I think for anybody to be in the running for Sixth Man, it's going to be hard on this team because I feel like guys are going to be competing with each other not only for minutes, but they seem to be playing really well as a unit, right? And they're going to share the ball with each other. So Buddy Hield may go, real hot and real cold at times. And if he continues the hot streak, he shoots 40% from 3 for the year. That might put him in the running for Sixth Man. But I really think it's going to be tough for anybody on the Kings to win that award this year just because of how deep the roster is and how many different lineups they could potentially use on a nightly basis.
Yeah. What up, Leo? Thanks for joining us in here. What's up, Guy? Guy agrees with you. They should share the award. Leo is choosing Fox. I want to go a little off topic here because I saw a post today by Leo suggesting a trade with the guy that we will not mention his name. We'll just call him BS. He is currently estranged from his current team. Mm-hmm. But Leo is suggesting a 3-way trade. This is between the Sixers, the Rockets, and the Kings. The Kings are receiving Danny Green, BS, Ben Simmons, I'll say it, and Cormax. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Furkman
Cormax. The Rockets will be receiving Tristan Thompson. I already don't like it. Seth Curry, Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, and a 2027 first-round pick.
Wow, that's quite a haul.
The Sixers will receive Eric Gordon, John Wall, Daniel House, first-rounder in 2023, first-rounder in 2025, and a first-round pick in 2022 from the Kings, lottery protected, and a 2024 first-round pick from the Kings, also lottery protected. I know I'd been talking about the perfect deal seems to be flipping John Wall directly for Ben Simmons, considering Daryl Morey brought John Wall to the Rockets.
Yep.
And both don't seem happy with their current teams. They both make around the same amount of money, and they're both point guards. But looks like Leo has expanded the trade to bring Ben Simmons to the Kings. Uh-huh. I know both Calvin and I had been adamant about adding a guy like Ben Simmons to this team. However, the more I watch this team, the less I feel that they need to bring in a guy like this. Not that they shouldn't, because obviously bringing in an all-star caliber player is always good for your team.
Yeah.
But Calvin, what do you feel about this deal? And before you respond, I want everybody that's watching to let us know down below in the chat how they feel about this deal.
So, man, there's a lot to unpack from this deal. It's very there's a lot of moving parts. What I would probably say is I agree with you. I would have if this deal was going to go down, I would have liked to have seen it happen before training camp.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you're basically flipping half the team here. So I like the way that the Kings look right now. I think that they're gelling as a group. The defense has been much, much better ever since the Summer League started. And I know Ben Simmons is a fantastic defensive player, and he could probably fit in no matter what. But I just feel like at this point, I want to see where this team goes.
Yeah. I mean, I can see both sides.
Yeah.
Leo's hitting us up in the chat here. He says, "Don't be a prisoner of the moment." Ben Simmons
That's a very
to the
good
Kings.
point. It's a very good
He's
point.
an elite defensive player. I can't disagree with any of those points. He has a lot of great points there. Also want to say happy birthday, Guy. Awesome win for your birthday. Thanks for tuning in on your birthday. I hope you're having a good time and drinking some beers with us on the channel here. Leo, I know you're a big baller, just like Calvin and I. I got to know, are you going to be in this 3-on-3 tournament? And if you're not already registered, we could use a fourth sub on our team.
That's
Sorry
true.
You're not a starter. We already got 3. But if you need one, let us know. We'd love to have you. So, all right. So let's move on here. Or actually, I want to talk a little bit more about Ben Simmons because I feel like in another week's time, we might not have another chance to talk about him. But it seems like the ownership group with the Sixers is finally taking a hard stance here, and that's they're playing hardball. They're saying we're not going to trade you, or they're waiting for him to show up. Where do you think this situation will go, and what would you do if you were the owner of the Sixers?
Oh man, if I was the owner of the Sixers or the GM?
Either.
Well, I don't know what I'd do if I was the owner. Hopefully I'd be having some sort of communication with Ben Simmons every single day, even if it was, "Hey Ben, how you doing?" and he, texts me back like the middle finger emoji or something like that. You got to have some sort of communication with him, because otherwise, what are you doing? Daryl Morey, I would be doing the same thing. Where is this going? Man, it's so hard to tell. I thought Ben Simmons was going to be traded weeks, if not months ago, and we still haven't come to that fruition yet. I think he's going to be traded at some point, but I don't know where. And the only reason I say that is because I really feel Ben Simmons is there. He has reached the point of no return, right?
Yep.
How is it going to look if he shows up to training camp or to practice tomorrow and he's like, "You know what, guys? I'm really sorry. I was being selfish. I'm going to play." How is everybody else on the team going to react to that,
It's kind of the same as this Kyrie Irving vaccine thing, right?
So,
and
a very different situation. But
he's not showing up. He's getting docked pay for not going to be able to play games. It's very
Irving
similar,
situation
but
is so weird.
Honestly, if I'm the GM and I'm the owner of the Sixers, I'm saying we're not trading you. You come play. We're docking you for every game you don't play.
Yeah.
And if you have to be on this roster for the next 4 years, not playing any games, good luck getting another $200 million contract. Good luck getting any contract after 4 years.
Yeah.
If you're Ben Simmons and you're talking to your agent and the agent says, "Yo, they're not folding here. I got to show up." Maybe you're the Sixers. You say, "Hey, listen, Ben, we'll trade you, but you got to play ball with us. You got to show up. You got to help increase your trade value.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll work a deal. Otherwise, good luck sitting at home. We're going to dock you for every game you don't miss, and then you're never ever going to get that second or I guess third contract, right?"
Sure. Well, yeah, it really feels like at this point both sides are they're doubling down on they put all the chips in the table, Neither one wants to fold, neither one wants to bend or break. And it's just such a unique situation because of the caliber of player that Ben Simmons is, and they couldn't find a trade partner. I know the asking price was astronomical to begin with, but this is really a unique situation. I don't know if I've ever kind of seen anything like this unfold with an all-star level player before. All of these guys, James Harden, Anthony Davis, I know that they're probably more elite or more high-level players than Ben Simmons, but all of them did the exact same thing that Ben Simmons is doing here, and they all got their way. So
it's got to break somewhere, right?
Something has got to break at some point. I just don't want the Kings to give up too much to get him. Is all I want. And I'm not even sure at this point if I know what too much is to get him.
Yeah.
Well, I know that De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Haliburton plus X, Y, and Z and draft picks would be too much. But I have faith and confidence that the Kings are not going to do that. So the question is, what is the middle ground and how much is too much?
And, from the Sixers' perspective, we've seen teams that have been willing to pay guys to not play, right? The Nets signed KD. They knew he was going to be out a whole year.
Yeah.
Same with the Warriors and Klay Thompson. They paid him his full salary.
Very different
It is very different. But you take a guy like Ben Simmons, he's available to play. You can dock him for every game that he does miss.
Yep.
And maybe you say, let's try this for a year, see what happens, and then we'll trade him next offseason if it doesn't work out, right? I know if you're a guy like Embiid, you're not very happy with that because your window is small. You want to win now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that really helps.
And if you're Tyrese Maxey, you're not very happy about that either because you're like, oh, man, I'm the new man here in Philadelphia. I'm the point guard. I'm the guy that's going to run the show. And all of a sudden, you know what? Your minutes per game are getting cut in half.
Yeah, I mean, you could always put Ben in at the 3, too. Tyrese Maxey's a pretty good three-point shooter, so he can stretch the floor there. What up, Kings Inside? Thanks for joining us. Yes, we are up late. We are so ecstatic about another Kings victory. It wouldn't help to go to sleep now because I'd be laying in bed for a couple hours at least. What the hell are you guys doing up so late tuning into us? Let us know in the chat what you guys are up to because we're just having fun. We're just having a lot of fun here. All right, we're moving on from Ben Simmons.
Real quick, we don't have to go too much into this.
Okay.
Do you think that the Nets would trade Kyrie Irving if he doesn't get vaccinated?
Well, Kyrie's already said that if he gets traded, he's...
Believe that?
I mean, I don't really know what to believe with this guy. What about a Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons trade? Does that help both teams?
Oh, man.
Does it? I mean, there's no vaccine mandate in Philadelphia.
No, but they got to play New York and Brooklyn a bunch of times.
That's true.
Definitely not as many games missed as if you stay in New York. So
yeah, I don't know. Let's move back to the Kings. Thank you all for joining us. Everyone that's missed out, another victory for your Sacramento Kings. Calvin has named De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell as co-players of the game.
That's right.
First half, second half.
And co-MVPs in the NBA. So.
And I am so happy to have him on this team. Just seeing him out there on the court, like I feel like everybody on this Kings roster plays harder when Davion's around.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like trying to impress him or what, or they're like, I'm not going to let this rookie outwork me. Like this guy's been here for half a second and he's already the talk of the town.
Yeah.
And, it's got to be annoying playing against that guy in practice, right?
Oh, I'm sure. But that's part of basketball, when you're on a team where a guy works that hard on defense, going one-on-one and working incredibly hard on offense, people do that and you're supposed to just stand there in the corner and watch, right?
Yeah.
But whether you are, fearful of him because he's going to take minutes away from you or you really love his intensity or whatever the case may be, coaches say it all the time. Defense is contagious, and it really is. If you're next to a guy every day in practice and every day in a game, and he is the same 100 miles an hour all the time, that is gonna rub off on you. Whether it's a negative or a positive reaction to it, it's gonna rub off on you. So,
yeah, and I actually saw an interesting video today of Davion and Haliburton both doing rookie duties. So is this like a 2-time rookie duties for Tyrese Haliburton, or what's going on here? Is he a red shirt?
Last year like wasn't Simmons? A real rookie year,
like because
no media day, no fans in the stands, so they want to make sure that he gets the full rookie experience.
I just remember a funny quote from Delonte West when he was on the Cavaliers yelling at, I think it was J.J. Hickson or something. He says, "You better get my donuts, son." He's yelling at him. He's got to get there. He's got to go. He's got to leave like
a lot of good sound bites from Delonte West.
Right. He's got to leave an hour early for practice because he's got to drive all the way to the other side of town to get the specific donuts that he wants before he goes to practice. And if he doesn't have those, they send him out again to do that. So pretty wild.
It's just like Dave Chappelle's Making the Band skit.
Sorry about the lag, guys. We are working on it right now. You know, I think everyone's just so excited that the Kings won that, I don't know. Looks like it's a little blurry here, so we are working on that. As we mentioned in the last stream, Vinny is our mastermind behind the computer. He makes us look good. He does everything he can back here, editing, building tables, everything. He is also going to be at FanFest this weekend. So if you guys would like to meet Vinny, he's an awesome guy. He is the one that lifts us both up and makes us look good. So thank you so much, Vinny.
Yeah, hit him with the air horn. There you go.
All right, so let's see here. We talked about the game. We talked about Ben Simmons. You guys have any questions, any fan questions you guys want us to answer? We did let you guys know that we are doing Season 2 of the Royal Report starting Friday. Is it the 22nd of October?
That is correct. It's the day after my birthday.
Yes.
22nd.
The day after Calvin's birthday. The 22nd of October, we will be doing the Royal Report Season 2 every Friday, only on YouTube. It's basically a PTI version of the Sacramento Kings. ESPN doesn't talk about us enough, so we took it upon ourselves to be the Sacramento Kings, or ESPN for Kings fans on YouTube.
Yep.
So we're just having a good time putting out fun content. All right, so Calvin, let's talk about regular season predictions.
Yes, regular season predictions. How many wins for the Kings this year?
I'm going to pull up the standings from last year, and let's take a look here. I don't think we need to look at the Eastern Conference standings because that's we're not in the East, even though we wish we were. All right, so let's
maybe a few years ago.
Let's start here at the top. So Jazz finished number 1 in the West, 52-20. I think it's both of us are pretty certain saying the Jazz are going to make the playoffs. I think they're probably going to be top 4, top 5.
It's hard to see them dropping too far. I mean, they have basically the same team running it back, and they were incredible last year. The way they can stretch the floor and shoot from outside at every position, just about, maybe minus Rudy Gobert, but Donovan Mitchell is a whiz, one of my favorite players to watch. And Mike Conley, the big X factor for them. You know, they re-signed him in the offseason. So, yeah, I expect them to be a very formidable force once again.
All right, so Jazz, Suns, Nuggets, Clippers is the top 4. I think we can agree that all 4 of those will most likely be going back to the playoffs next year. The Clippers, for me...
The Nuggets are going to be interesting. You know, they definitely still have enough talent to make the playoffs for sure, but no Jamal Murray for the whole season is a big deal, big loss for them. So,
and Kawhi Leonard's out for the Clippers too. So I expect those teams both to make the playoffs, but I think they'll drop. Mavericks, how do you feel about the Mavericks?
Very interesting. You know, one of those in between teams. I view them and New Orleans, you know, very similar. These teams that everybody is expecting to make huge jumps. And yes, they did make the second round of the playoffs last year. Luka had an amazing series against the Clippers, but he seems to have the Clippers number. If he matches up against anybody else, I don't know what's going to happen. And for them, Kristaps Porzingis is the X factor to me.
He's got to stay healthy.
If he stays healthy and he plays at an all-star level like he has in the past, they're a really, really tough team to beat.
Yeah, I agree there. All right, so then we got the Trailblazers, Lakers, Grizzlies.
Man, this Western Conference is not easy.
And that's just the top 8.
Yeah,
and then
it's just
we'll
the top
talk about
8.
9 and 10 and the play-in tournament after that. But as far as those teams go, Lakers got better.
They did.
As much as it pains me to say that.
As will be the case with every team, but health is the big issue for them.
I think they're the oldest team in the NBA this year, right?
They are. But, again, that's not that doesn't mean Jordan, when he won his 6th championship, I think every starter in their lineup was over 30 as well. Mm-hmm. So that definitely doesn't mean, they're too old or anything like that. If they stay healthy, there's no way in my mind they'll be finishing lower than 7th or even lower than 4th or 5th. I just don't see that happening. So,
what's up, Jill? Welcome. Thanks for jumping here in the chat. If we get one more small forward, we could be super legit. I think Calvin and I both agreed on the last show that the only position we are short on is wing.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, Jill, that you'd like to see the Kings target at that small forward position? We'll give you a few minutes to respond, and then Calvin and I will jump in too with our takes. All right, so we talked about the Lakers. Now we're on the Grizzlies. How are you feeling about the Grizzlies? I know you're a big Ja Morant fan.
Jaren Jackson loved Ja Morant. I don't know what the issue with Jaren Jackson is. He's still making his way back from injury. I don't know what the timetable is necessarily on him, but Steven Adams? No, not Steven Adams. I apologize.
Yeah, they got Steven
Adams.
They traded Valanciunas
for him. You're a big Steven Adams fan. I've loved Ja Morant ever since I saw him at Murray State. I think he is on track to have a fantastic year this year. The point guard level in this league right now is just absolutely insane. So many great point guards in the league and a lot of really young ones too. But, I expect him to have a phenomenal season. So,
yeah, crazy thing about Steven Adams. I remember when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. He has 17 siblings.
He does.
And his other partner in the front court at the time, Serge Ibaka, also 17 siblings.
Something crazy like that, yeah.
Can you imagine those guys going to the front office and saying, "Hey, I need tickets for the game for my family members"? How many tickets? Like, they had to change a rule in Oklahoma City for those guys, right? Like, probably. Okay, you only get 5 or 10 tickets per player.
Well, I think a lot of their siblings probably for both of these guys don't live in the United States either. But, I'm sure they had times when they would come over to watch games and whatnot.
I am mistaken. Serge Ibaka has 18 siblings.
18 siblings.
Sorry about that.
18. Wow, I cannot even imagine what growing up in a household
that is
with
crazy.
18 siblings would be.
But
19 kids.
I think the Kings have a good chance to challenge the Grizzlies just because the questions with Jaren Jackson and whether they're healthy. They brought in some new players, so they're going to have to kind of mesh together, learn to play together. Mm-hmm. This Kings roster has been together for a few years now, so you got to think that the chemistry on the Kings is on the way up.
Yeah.
Okay, next here we're talking about the Warriors and the Spurs. These guys finished 9th and 10th, respectively, in the playoff tournament. We all know about the Kings and their potential to make this play-in tournament. What do you think about the Warriors this season?
So first of all, they drafted 2 of my absolute favorite players in this draft. I wanted Moses Moody to go to the Kings, and Jonathan Kuminga. If anybody watched our live draft show, he is my favorite player in the entire draft. So not only did they get one guy, but they got them both. They got James Wiseman coming back. They have Klay Thompson coming back. Who knows what Klay is going to look like, but you have to expect that he's going to come out and shoot the ball well, if anything else. It's hard to imagine that this team won't be better than they were last year. Andrew Wiggins while we're on the
He got
topic of
vaccinated.
vaccines. He got the vaccine so he can play. You know, it really comes down in the West to those 8 through 11 or 12 teams. I think we both agree that, according to last year's standings, teams 1 through 7 either got better or they didn't get that much worse into where they're still going to be playoff level teams. So who is going to be the group that steps up from that 8 to 12 range? Who's going to be the group that regresses a little bit? And is there anybody in that top 7 that's going to fall out? You know, to me, you start looking at Dallas, you look at Denver. They finished all the way up at 3rd last year. And I know they made a huge run even after Jamal Murray went out. You know, I think they were somewhere like 6th or 7th, and they bumped them all the way up to 3rd by the end of the year, thanks to MVP Nikola Jokic. It's a gauntlet, man. It really, really is in the Western Conference. But to me, the teams to watch are New Orleans and San Antonio, because those are the 2 teams that I think are the easiest to leapfrog for Sacramento. New Orleans is a really interesting one to me. They've got a very talented roster, but are they, you know, together as a team, happy with the way things are going in New Orleans? So that would be the start to me. I think the Warriors get better.
Oh, they're definitely knocking somebody out of the top 8.
Yeah, I think Memphis is right on the cusp there of being, you know, a regular playoff team as opposed to a play-in tournament team. So Memphis, New Orleans, and San Antonio, those are the teams. If the Kings can jump those teams, you know, obviously they're guaranteed the play-in tournament at that point, but they have the potential to maybe sneak in at the 7 or 6 seed.
All right, so we got Jill here. Jill's preferred small forward for the Kings to pick up. There's actually 3 of them here. 2 of them are on the Utah Jazz. Joe Ingles, or as I like to call him, Joel Ingles.
Joel Ingles.
Or Bogdan.
Bogdanovic?
How do you feel? Yeah, how do you feel about those guys?
I like them both. You know, I think it's going to be hard to wrestle either one of those guys away. They both had fantastic years in Utah. You know, and again, it's what you're going to give up to get them, right? I would love to have either one of those guys on my team because they can shoot the lights out. And Joe Ingles is a pretty good distributor as well. I don't like the defensive ability necessarily too much from either one of them, but...
And I don't think either of those guys are willing to come off the bench for this Kings roster, right?
Well, I'm not so sure. I mean, both of them spent time in Utah at one point off the bench because they have a very deep team as well. You know, so it's interesting. I like both of those players, though.
And then the third person here who she admitted is a dream, Jimmy Butler.
Oh, man,
Which,
Jimmy.
I know Jimmy would be a great fit on this team. I am a little concerned considering what happened in Minnesota. I think Minnesota and Sacramento are very similar situations. And
Yeah.
I would not want Jimmy blown up on our team. However, I think he could light a fire under players like De'Aaron Fox. I think he would get along really well with Davion Mitchell. But I think
you took the words out of my mouth.
I think we could
Those
all.
two are a match made in heaven.
But I think
Davion
we can
Mitchell
all
and Jimmy Butler.
acknowledge that is a little bit unrealistic. Unfortunately, as much as we would love to
agree
have
with
him.
that.
All right, 2's jumping in here. Marvin Bagley extension talks have come to. Oh wow. Okay, that's perfect because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about next. Dre Lyon, Kings, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. We are up late. We are celebrating another Kings victory. It's too early to go to sleep when you're this excited about the Sacramento Kings.
Got that right.
All right, so let's talk about contract extensions. I know it came up this week that DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns are having issues working out a contract negotiation. The Suns don't think that Ayton is a max player, being a former number one overall pick. Just going to the NBA Finals, Ayton's got to feel like he's a max guy, right?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, you're already paying Devin Booker. You got a guy like Chris Paul.
That's kind of the way we're going in the NBA today, right?
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they deserve max contract money because money's just been thrown around in the NBA over the past few years. But salary cap's tighter. Teams don't have as much money to spend right now, so there's going to be a lot of these guys like Ayton who are, in between the stardom level and the still coming into your own level. They're going to have their franchises are going to have really tough decisions to make on them.
And they're paying Chris Paul. How much are they paying Chris Paul right now? A ridiculous amount of money.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
Let's see. Let's take a look here. I don't know how much they can afford. They're paying Chris Paul this season $30 million.
He did restructure the deal, I think. He had a player option for something like
that's next
$44 million or something.
Yeah.
That.
So next year, $28 million, then $30 million. Then he's got another option for $30 million the year after that. So with that much money, you don't have much money to spend. We all saw Luka Doncic sign a huge extension this offseason. So guys like Marvin
Michael
Bagley.
Porter Jr., $200 million contract extension.
So if you're Marvin Bagley, if you're DeAndre Ayton, you're looking at those guys and you're saying, I need some money too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how do you think this Marvin Bagley contract situation will end up? And I know it's early because the Kings are probably wanting to wait to the end of the season, wait to see what happens with Marvin's health and all that. But how do you feel this situation will end?
Gosh, that's a tough question. You really need a crystal ball for that one, I think. But I agree with you 100%, or I agree with what you said in that I don't think the Kings are making a move necessarily until the end of the year on this. And the Kings are going to be strapped for cash too. It's not like they can pay him a ton of money next year, even if he comes out and he has, a 20-10 season or something like that. They still can't really afford to pay him what you would think he would be worth or deserving of at that point. So hopefully he plays well enough to where the Kings want to bring him back, and they can within their financial abilities. But I don't think you're going to see any movement on this until the end of the year.
2 says Marvin Bagley, 3 years, $36 million, 2 years guaranteed, third year partial. I would love that deal for the Kings. I don't know if that's possible.
I think everybody not named Marvin Bagley would love that deal.
But then again, everybody's strapped for cash. We saw this last offseason. Yeah. Rashawn Holmes was a team-friendly deal.
Sure.
And we all thought that he was going to get big money offers from other teams after having a great season. But I think Calvin and I both feel it's too early to tell in this. And
it's way too early.
It really just depends on how Marvin plays this season.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, too, is Marvin is a restricted free agent after this. Might as well, if he can, unless he breaks his leg in the next game or tears his Achilles. Or,
don't jinx the man. Don't jinx him.
Unless something like that happens, I see the Kings waiting it out, giving him a qualifying offer, seeing what he can get on the open market, and then maybe swooping in and matching a deal if they feel it. Or if Marvin doesn't get much, he comes back to the Kings, they renegotiate. They say, okay, let's maybe do 1 year with a player option. That way Marvin can say, okay, I like it, I don't like it. Or maybe a little bit heavier deal, 1 year with a second year as a team option.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you're Monty McNair, you also have to be looking, you should always be looking to the future when you're building a roster and making salary cap decisions and whatnot. But Tyrese Haliburton is at this point not going to be too far away from his next contract, right? So you have to think that it's in the plans for Sacramento to keep him on the roster. So making sure that they have enough money available to do that is probably going to go into their negotiations with Bagley. I don't see how it couldn't.
Jill's got a signed Buddy and Holmes jersey. Who should I get next? There's a lot of options there.
Wow. Well,
De'Aaron Fox. I got a De'Aaron Fox.
First of all, jersey. Jill, if you're able to just get signed jerseys that easily,
hook us up.
Royal Rebounds would love some.
We'll be at FanFest. Team Barnes, you can catch us in the championship game. How about that? Let us know how you guys feel in the chat about Marvin Bagley, whether you think he'll stay with the team, whether they'll be able to work it out, or if you think it's time for him to get shipped out for a guy like Ben Simmons or Pascal Siakam or somebody else like that. We'll see. We'll see if that's doable. All right, for everyone that's just joining us now, Calvin and I are up late. We are celebrating a Kings victory over the Clippers. Let's do a little bit of recap here, Cal. So, third quarter is where the Kings pulled away. Who led the Kings in scoring tonight?
De'Aaron Fox.
That's right.
23 points. Did most of his damage in the first half. Kings win 113-98. But the game was well in hand long before that final score. The Kings led by as many as 27 points. Clippers only led by as many as 2 points the whole night. So that third quarter, they just came out guns blazing. Actually, it took them a little while. It was a late third quarter run, but guns blazing at the end there. They outscored the Clippers 38-17 in the third quarter and never looked back.
20 minutes for Marvin Bagley. He came off the bench tonight. Same with Rashawn Holmes. I just noticed this now. I didn't notice during the game, but Marvin Bagley, 20 minutes, 9 points, 1 for 4 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
I know that's not a big enough sample size, but do you think we're going to see more struggles from him at the free throw line this season?
Well, not just him. Their entire team is in question here. I think the Kings only shot as a unit 64% or something like that from the free throw line, which was a big area of concern for them last year as well. De'Aaron Fox did not have that problem tonight. He was perfect at the free throw line, going 6 of 6, but the rest of these guys struggled. Even like you said, Marvin Bagley 1 for 4. It's going to be something. They're not going to be up by 27 every night. So they're going to have to knock down free throws as a group.
Yeah, they definitely need to knock down free throws. Championship teams do. These are things that good teams do, and they have to do it regularly, consistently, if they want to have a shot at making the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Jill, we don't have tickets to the home opener yet. We'd love to go. Be on 3 tournament. Hopefully we'll be in the championship game. But we'll be wandering around, having a good time. I'm sure you might catch us upstairs, having a beer.
Oh, I'm having a proud ale.
Gotta have a proud ale. Dre Lyon, that's a good question. Calvin and I grew up in Davis. I was born in Sacramento. Currently, we reside on the island of Maui, but we do make trips back to California all the time. We love to go to Kings games, and we love to cover the Sacramento Kings. All right, so moving back here, before we got sidetracked, we were talking about standings. So let's talk about the 10th team here, where they finished 10th in the Western Conference this year, a spot that the Kings would love to have so they can compete in this tournament, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. We know they lost
or at least not any big name players. They took in what I thought was a bit of a surprise in their first round draft pick, a guy by the name of Joshua Primo from Alabama, who is a fantastic defensive player in his own right, very, very athletic. This team is all of a sudden incredibly young. Since Greg Popovich has been there, I'm not sure he's had a younger team than this.
Yep.
So they're a big wild card to me, I would say, in the Western Conference.
Yeah, another year under Devin Vassell's belt. Lonnie Walker, I know we've all been excited to see what he can do, and unfortunately had that injury his rookie year.
Sure. Another team that's really guard heavy. DeJounte Murray is a fantastic player.
Also injured too. So.
Yes.
And I think their big acquisition this offseason was Zach Collins from the Portland Trailblazers. Honestly, I don't think this team really got that much better. I mean, you have Greg Popovich, which you can't discount that guy there. I think he is the best coach in the NBA currently and has been for probably the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. But I think the Kings could definitely sneak in this.
They've gotten a few years of playing together now. De'Aaron Fox, I think, edges out DeJounte Murray. He's a better player. Top to bottom in their roster, that they should be able to outperform them, no doubt. So the question is New Orleans going to make that step as well? Are the Warriors going to make a big step, or are they going to be somewhere around the same 7 to 9 range?
And the Pelicans are having some drama surrounding Zion Williamson, right? So, and I heard that Brandon Ingram
Lonzo Ball.
Brandon Ingram might want out. Yep. So, they're in some turmoil. I don't really hear much stuff like that for the Kings on their core players, right?
Sure.
You have a guy like Marvin Bagley who's had drama in the past, but he healed. But I don't really consider either of those guys the core of this team at this point, right? De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton, now bringing in Davion Mitchell. I think Rashawn Holmes is a big point, and Harrison Barnes. And all these guys seem happy in Sacramento. So I think the Kings have a leg up on New Orleans in that category for sure.
Well, the Kings are really, I think, fortunate when you look around the entire league to have very few distractions. We talk a lot about vaccinations and how that's become an issue for a lot of different teams like Brooklyn and Golden State and all these other teams. They've got issues with disgruntled players, veteran player, too old of a team, too young of a team, that sort of thing. I think the Kings are sort of flying under the radar when it comes to a lot of that stuff, and it's going to bring them together better as a team and overall, I think, help them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Welcome to everyone else who just joined in here. Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV. This is Calvin. I'm Barry. We love the Sacramento Kings. We put out fresh Kings content almost every day. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you'd like to join family with Calvin and I, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to find out when Calvin and I put out a new video, make sure you hit that notification cowbell down below. Calvin's got a cowbell over there. He's going to ring for our victory tonight. Woo! Let's go, Kings. All right, we got a new person in the chat here. Afghanistan, baby. Oh, yeah. What up, fellas?
Wow.
What's up, Afghanistan? I don't know if that's your real name, but welcome to Royal Rebounds. We are having fun. We are up late talking about the Kings, another victory. Calvin is modeling one of our awesome T-shirts here from RoyalRebounds.com. Make sure you guys check out our store. Support us. Support your Kings. Let's go. Keep Kings 8. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. You guys have any more questions for us? Let us know in the chat. We'll stay on here for a few more minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns about your Kings? And Calvin will be in the 3-on-3 tournament. Oh, yes. 2 wants to talk about some of the new coaches for the Sacramento Kings, specifically Doug Christie and Bobby Simmons.
Yeah, how could you not be happy with both of these hires? I mean, anybody who calls themselves a Kings fan, I think, has got to be ecstatic about having Doug Christie on the bench here. For so many different reasons. His energy, his view of the game, his connection with the Kings franchise for so many years, and the fact that he is was a great defensive player and a great defensive mind in his own right. And, I think you could say great things about all the new coaches that have been brought in by the Kings this year. They really changed out a lot of their coaching staff, which Luke Walton said on Media Day is not an ideal situation. You don't like to really do that very often. He wants to keep things consistent. But that being said, the group of people that have been brought in this year are all fantastic. Ogman is another one that I think is kind of an unsung hero, or will be an unsung hero. He's been around the game for an incredibly long time. Very good player in his own right as well. Played on a lot of really, really good teams. So I think you can't really say enough good things about all these guys.
Yeah, and Doug's taken Marvin under his wing, so happy about that. I also want to introduce to you guys, we have the new Christie coin. We are going to be using this season when Calvin and I cannot agree on something. We will be flipping the Christie coin to find out who is right and who is wrong. Trey Lyon, we would love to bring some Royal Rebounds shirts to FanFest. Unfortunately, our bags are quite packed. As you know, there is a no bag policy at the arena now, and Calvin and I are flying a bit of a distance to get there. We are departing Friday night at 11 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. We arrive in Sacramento at 9:52 a.m., and then the tournament starts at 11. So
it's going to be a quick turnaround for us.
It's going to be a quick turnaround. We are Team Barnes, so make sure you guys root for us. And then we'll just be hanging around for the rest of the day, Fan Fest. Maybe we'll go to K Street afterwards.
Yep.
We're just going to have a good time, see the sights, and just have a good time hanging out. All right, Key Kings 8 says Mitchell's offense looked like Dame-esque, especially with that step back. Man, I love that step back three. Watching that just made me smile.
You know, that is actually it's a lofty comparison, but when you really break down his style of play, it is a fair comparison. He has that quick twitch, great step back move, great shot creator, and Damian Lillard is one of the best, if not the best, shot creators in the league. So I think that's a really, really good person for Davion to kind of try to model his game after as he becomes more of a pro, and he gets a chance to match up with him in a few nights.
Yeah, he does. All right, guys, we're going to sign off here. We will catch you all this weekend at FanFest. If you're not able to make it or you guys don't spot us, catch us next week. We will be live again after the Portland Trail Blazers game. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Royal Rebounds TV. We'll catch you in the next time. And in the meantime, go Kings.
Go Kings.